Sagittarius, this is your 2024 yearly reading. Coming out good at the gate here. Oh. All right. All right, Sag. Happy belated birthday. Oh, that's too many. That's too many, too. Only one card flipped up. Oh, no, two, so I'm not going to take it. About that, I can't deny. I'm going to not take those. Just one card for each position, please. Okay. Okay, there you are. There's that Jupiter energy I wanted. Ooh, I just made a mess. Come on. All right. Okay. One more for Sagittarius in 2024, Sun, Moon, Rising. And here we go. Okay. Underneath, we have the Death card. One of the readings for Libra, somehow Libra got two. It was a mistake, but had a very similar start and underlying energy. So if you have Libra in your chart, check out either both of those readings or find the one that I'm talking about. And also this card came out. So somebody's got Libra and Sag going on. All right. So great change coming to you as well in in 2024, Sag. So I'm getting a needing to release what isn't working for you anymore in order to gain with those cards there. Let's see if we can't put that into perspective. So first card out, the Magician. You are creating something. You are manifesting big things this year. And you might be the one manifesting the changes that's coming in. I see you taking what you've learned so far, what you know, the skills that you have, and utilizing them to move things around. You're making moves. What is helping or hindering the situation or kind of causing, it's like the catalyst in the situation is this push from the universe. This kind of, hello, wake up, it's time to wake up now. You're being called to heed the angel's trumpet, meaning an angel. I think angel's trumpet is super poisonous, actually. The plant. That would be also something very scorpionic. And also, there's a flower on here. I don't know if it's a magnolia or what it is, but very interesting. Card 20, and this is card 13. For some reason, I feel like these two go hand in hand. They're both scorpionic energies. See how they're sleeping? They're dead here. And now they're rising from their grave. They're awake. There's a great rebirth. Something is going to catalyze you into the mode of manifestation this year. Maybe you haven't necessarily been able to motivate yourself. Something else is going to motivate you. Something else is going to make you feel driven to... It's going to make you understand what you have to do. It's going to make you understand the purpose of a situation and why things have been going the way they've been going, why you've been creating all that you've been creating, what you've been working on. The Magician card is the card of Gemini, and it's also it's mercurial, right? Because that's the ruling planet. I feel like the blinders are coming off this year when it comes to what you're creating in your life and how you're going about doing it and what you need to do or what you need to start creating in your life. There's somebody here who's maybe you're getting called out on something. Maybe you're calling the BS on something. There's something here about somebody making the call, making the, hey, what the heck are you doing kind of thing. Whether you're telling yourself this or somebody else, you're telling somebody else this or somebody else is telling you this. I see right now that you're in make it happen mode, okay? You're going to do anything in your power to change the situation. And in the near past, you got some news that was maybe a little unpleasant. Maybe you rushed into something, you didn't think something through completely. With the Page of Swords, I think I got this covered, running in, ready to tackle a situation, thinking you've got it from all corners when you needed a little more information, a little more wisdom in the situation. The Magician, he's at least got some skill set where he knows, like, he can use what he's got around him to make things work. So maybe you didn't really have everything put together, but somehow you decided you were going to make things work. Now, this is also a way of thinking. So thinking a little immaturely about a situation, not seeing the other side of a situation with that Magician card. That's the Gemini, the double sides. I also have a lot of Gemini here. You could have a lot of Gemini in your chart. I see Jupiterian influence and Gemini influence heavy. I feel like you felt very restricted in some sort of way. There's been something that has been hindering you or causing you to stagnate mentally in regards to moving forward and making progress in something. Um, you're aware that you've been stuck in a situation, and maybe that there is some sort of way out, but you're not seeing it clearly because you're too much up in your head and not looking around in a more optimistic fashion at this time. Or you haven't been very optimistic at this time in the near recently. And so you're seeing how maybe you've held yourself back from moving forward in regards to some sort of situation, making some sort of judgment call. What you are not aware of is that your self-expression has been hindered in some sort of way. Your happiness is being restricted in some sort of way by your own mental boundaries that you've set on yourself, your limitations. The magician is limitless. So you've been thinking very limited, and they both involve power, right? Feeling powerless with the Eight of Swords, thinking that you're powerless. Woe is me, I'm never going to get out of this situation. I don't know where my ass from my elbow, type of mentality. The magician is absolute power. He knows that if he can think about it, he can create it in his life. And so he's mastered the art of manifestation. And he is pointing up with that wand towards her. She was like centered to be a little more obvious. He's pointing up at her with his wand, saying, as above, so below. And he's pointing down, but not directly to the sun. It's kind of the way the card's positioned. He's pointing out that the judgment, that something has come to pass because he has made it so. You're realizing how you've gotten in your own way in terms of your thinking this year, Sag. And I think that there's something here also about consumption, because the second house is what we bring in, right? It's what we're giving ourselves, our resources as well. So he's pointing to some sort of flag that's waving, like he finds a resource. He finds the answer, okay, to his problem. And he ends up then freeing himself of mental restriction, of feeling limited. And I think that you get to think outside of the box because something inspires you that you're feeling or sensing around you in your environment. There's something here that has been causing some problems, maybe in your life. Maybe it's just your own way of getting yourself worked up about something, and that's not progressive or helpful. But the clarity comes in that you've been tripping yourself up about something, and then you find through that clarity a way out of a situation. She can't see anything. She's blindfolded and bound. But she could rub the ropes on her against those swords and release herself. And then she could take that blindfold off. I think you find the answer through some sort of wake-up call in your life about what's actually been going on and how you've been handling it that's not been in your best interest. And I think that you then get a plan of action and you see the details of a situation for what they are, and you make a change. And that leads you to thinking outside of the box about a situation in order to tactfully have some strategy in order to move yourself in a new direction. Because you realize that, what's been hidden from you is that you've been restricted in your happiness. You've been, maybe you've been held back. I don't know, maybe it's somebody bullied you, or said something wrong to you, did something mean to you, so wasn't very nice, was maybe manipulative, or said some words that were very hurtful, and because of that it's affected you on the mental level. And maybe this has always caused you to hold yourself back when you really shouldn't be doing that has been absolutely not helpful. And you're correcting that. You're seeing that in 2024 you will be seeing the air of your, not your ways necessarily, it may be how others have caused you to feel a certain way that's changed your behavior for the worse. And now you're correcting that, and you're gonna be more self-expressive and find your happiness, find what makes you happy. And these two cards here are waking up to your happiness, waking up to the realization that there's more to life than what you've been experiencing, and finding your childlike joy again, finding security, feeling happy and stable in yourself, as well as maybe in your environment, regardless of what's going on. So in the near future, I see whatever news that came in, whatever words that were spoken or actions that were said, that were harmful or hurtful, that hurt your ego maybe, situations, news that came in that were detrimental to how you felt about yourself, are now changing for the better, because you're starting to see things from a different view, a different angle. And that's helping you make a strategy or a plan for your future. And maybe it's also in the near future you seeing how you have cheated yourself out of thinking in a more balanced or more intuitive way because of the words or the actions of others, or the manipulations of others. So excuse me, let me get me a sip of coffee. Okay. It's a very spiritual card, the Seven of Swords. Sevens are always a very spiritual number. And they're a number that we associate with luck, right? With chance, with risk as well. So I think you take a chance that maybe a road less traveled maybe in the near future, or you're calling somebody out on maybe their manipulative actions, or somebody doing something that you're now learning to stand up for yourself. You're learning to speak up for what is your own security, your own stability, your own happiness, and you might be calling somebody out on their bullcrap. You're passing judgment on someone's bullcrap. I don't think this is legal judgment. I think this is just treatment. I don't see any legal except for over here, actually. I'll take that back. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. So yeah, near future, getting a new angle, taking it from a new, taking a new course of action. Thinking outside the box. In your house of partnerships, and your advice is to fight. It's saying go at this in defense mode. Um, Not telling you to fight people physically. Come on. Don't do anything stupid that will get you in trouble with the law or with those around you that you care about. I'm just saying that defending what your beliefs are, what you stand for, how you think, um, you might have to be a little bit more. I don't want to say aggressive, but I'm trying to think of a word. Assertive. You might have to be a little more assertive with the others in your life right now in this year period. This might just be one thread throughout your year, but this will be something that's more of a major theme. People who are not treating you fairly, you need to stick up for yourself. People who are taking advantage of your kindness, just because they consider you that person in your life and their life, that they've always been able to, you need to start taking responsibility for how you behave with others this year. And that can go either way. So if you're being the one that's been a little bit tricky or a little bit, maybe a little harsh, really understanding just how you're coming across to others, how they're coming across to you, not letting their words affect you on a personal level that affects your life in a way that's negative. Criticism as well. This can be criticism from others, and learning to take the good from the bad. And that doesn't have to be just with criticism, it can be with anything in life. So there is something about finding your footing in a situation, releasing yourself from old words that have kept you held back, or situations that have held you back mentally in some sort of way from moving forward and making progress in your life. Limitations being released, freedom. And there's this rebirth going on, major death and rebirth. So life is changing and ending. There'll be great endings in 2024 and new beginnings that you'll be called to. And it's saying that here, a happy home is important. Feeling restricted from movement in some sort of way, unable to see what's around you in your local environment as well, feeling like you can't get out of a situation. You might be able to find something in your neighborhood or a resource that is going to kind of perk your ears up. So keep an eye out, or listen to others when they're talking. There's something here that you're gonna need to hear or see in order to make a new plan of action from a different angle. Your environment, I see a lot of chaos going around you, but you figuring out and focusing on what you need to do in order to keep the balance going in your life, and trying to enjoy life regardless of how things are looking externally from others' point of view as well. So caring less about what others think about your situation and more about what you're doing. Also, this is that seeing the potential of something and making sure that you can keep um, keep afloat all the things that you're trying to grow at once. You might have a few things that you're dealing with right now that you need to make sure and maintain the progress with. But I see you being able to do that. You might be juggling two jobs. You might have to, I mean, it's in the eighth house position, so there might be a little bit of a crisis situation, and you're really needing to figure out where money goes and how, sometimes we hit a wall in life and we have to figure things out just the best we can. um, this is also about borrowing money and making sure that you know we have um, we have shared resources available to us in order to make our material goals and aspirations succeed. Um, Sometimes we need the help of others and their resources. So, seeking out the resources of others um, in order to help with a crisis situation. This is also learning that this card also is in the same placement as the Libra reading. And I've done a handful of readings, and it's been days and days. Um, how to handle crisis, staying calm in a chaotic or crisis situation. This is also the warrior for others. This is somebody who fights on behalf of others. Very um, kind of almost Martian quality to this. Um, and it's in the seventh house. It's fighting for the underdog. It's fighting for fairness and justice. I do have the King of Cups there. So, I mean, I'd like to see the King of Swords, and because I would say that this could be like a legal battle, and if you're a lawyer, or if you need a lawyer, and you got to fight some kind of unfair deal, or maybe some slander of some kind, because there's a lot of swords here. Something you're calling somebody out on something that's been not quite fair. I don't have the Justice card, but I just feel like you're sticking up for a friend, maybe, or you're you're having to fight for a relationship in your life um, in a healthy way. I'm hoping a healthy way. And toning down the aggression doesn't ever not help. um, Whether you think that or not. But there's something here about rushing into the rescue, somebody on your behalf, you on somebody else's behalf, and then learning to deal with conflict as it comes, taking things one step at a time, maybe, is the advice here as well. But also learning to manage more than just one thing at a time is also coming through, because sometimes we can't just do one thing. We have to have multiple, like we're playing for multiple jobs, or we're working a side job, and but this is also other people's resources. This is shared resources, taxes, debt. This is also about power. So this is about changes or fluctuations in finances and going with the flow of things, um, finding your own personal power, really getting that self confidence back, even when things are tough and when they're not your own level of confidence cannot always depend on external circumstances. And I think that's what this is talking about here. Bad things happen, criticism happens. You have to constantly be on the receptive side of criticism, to take what is good from that and leave the rest, and to know where it's a healthy to draw a line and have boundaries. This is about making boundaries, right? Defending your boundaries. And I think that this year you're going to be doing that. You're going to be learning to handle crisis and conflict in your life, and you're going to be much better at handling conflicting situations, or situations of high stress, or this is the year you graduate from that and are able to overcome any hangups you've had with your self-esteem because things haven't been going so great, or you find this newfound sense of self, and you find your power and you're limitless. What you're hoping for, you might be hoping that you can partner up with somebody in love, or an employment situation. You're hoping to make a big decision, or be able to make a big decision finally, after feeling stuck for some time. This would be a life-changing decision. This would be, you saying yes to something and then having a whole new world kind of evolve from this decision. It's also about thinking bigger and more broader scope, seeing the other side of the coin, experiencing a new culture, meeting a lover at abroad, deciding to travel abroad, move abroad. I mean, this is a life-changing decision. So, big choices coming in, big changes coming in. You might be fearing shared experience right now. Just because emotionally you've been very much in your head and have not been very emotional, and you're being called to really get intimate with yourself and be able to understand what your emotional world is trying to tell you, what you're getting from the experiences you have with other people in your life that may be very different than you, or coming from a very, very different place. So you might travel. That might be one way this shows up. This is also about your dreams for the future, your goals, and deciding to go for one of those goals. It's also the house of the husband. So some of you could be deciding to get married. You might have been having cold feet for a long time, or maybe you really wanted to have children and you haven't found that right person, and you decide that a family is important to you, and maybe it's about timing that's been the issue, because there's not been somebody that you haven't found that right person to do all that with. Maybe this is deciding to free those mental restrictions about when something has to happen, and you're being called to action. This is divine timing, right? But it's also kind of waking you up to the idea of time, and that it's precious. And it's about making the time for things that we need to do for whatever reason, whether it's we're called to do them, you find it's our purpose in life to do them, we desire them, you're called to. And this is not just desire to, it's not a lusty desire, it's not a temptation necessarily. It's like, well, you've always wanted to do this, and now it's the time. And it might not always be the time to do it. So go for it. And that's that red flag. And it's not all red, there's white in there too. So it's noticing the signs, really kind of seeing and hearing, using everything that we have, every sense that we have to understand what we're being told to do from spirit. So some of you might be finding a hubby abroad, or have the goal to a big life decision this year in regards to a relationship of some kind. I feel like maybe some of you find out you're pregnant this year and then you decide to get married. That'll be for some of you. Or, look at it a different way. The Seven of Swords is about doing things differently. Looking at it a different way is exactly the key words, right? So maybe we're not doing things traditionally. We're going to do things a little bit out of the normal, quote unquote, order of things. And because it's also about sequence. It's like the sequence of things. Changing the way you do things up in the order in which you do them might be more beneficial in the situation than say beating yourself up about having to go in order, in this particular order, get this done first and this done. Obviously some things are better done in sequential order, but what I'm saying is life throws you curveballs sometimes, and you can't always do the thing you wanted to do next first, because we have the 8 and then we have the 7. We're going from this way, right? We're working our way over this way. We're going backwards. We're taking a step backwards. It might look like we are, but there's a purpose to that, if that's the case. Strategy and the big, when making big decisions is very important this year for you, Sagittarius. Career, status, reputation. We have the House of Capricorn with the sign of Capricorn in it. The Devil card is represents Capricorn, and it's about boundaries and limitations and restrictions and the whole, but it's also the other side of the coin where it's like complete and utter chaos, and also kind of debauchery, right? It's both of those things. It's the inability to know the difference between being truly free and being wild. And it's temptation, it's lust, it's all the things that the animalistic side to us that also requires taming at certain times. It's also time. It's time itself. Saturn is the taskmaster and the time manager. And we have a card of timing here, and we have another card of timing, and this is a immediacy, and this is long term. It takes a long time for Saturn to come around, 25 years, or excuse me, Saturn returns usually around 29 years, so it's like 29 years for 30 years for Saturn to come around back to its place in the sky, the same point in the sky. So that's that Saturn return is a coming of age, right? Because we finally have grown up, we've mastered some sort of, we're becoming adults. We've become an adult finally, spiritually speaking, and astrologically speaking, when Saturn makes its first full circle round. So there's either restrictions in career, but there also could be freedom. There's this kind of weird dichotomy of feeling bound to some sort of career. Maybe we want to make a change. For others of you, it'll be feeling completely free because we've gotten the taskmaster energy in that house. It's very at home there. It's hard for me to even talk badly about the devil in the 10th house. It's knowing exactly the amount of work that it takes to put in. It's also about rising to the rank through the ranks and being in charge, right? It's about government. It's about enlightenment as well because of the horns, it's being connected to spirit. Even though we're very physical beings, we're very involved in the physical world. So there's this kind of ability to overcome any obstacles within career. Capricorn is the ultimate mountain climber. This is rising to the highest heights possible in career. So maybe we're being called to get real about some sort of restrictions within career, thinking that we might not be able to move forward because there's the potential for us to make great strides in career and gain notoriety for that line of work or that reputation. Also, if I look at it and read it as a full line with the Seven of Swords and the Devil, as because that is really the outcome. It's the near future and the rest of the outcome. The last three cards. Somebody could be a rebel. This is such a rebellious energy, and we want to be a rebel with a cause, at least one that makes sense to us, not necessarily, the Seven of Swords and the Devil can also be very toxic, lying, deceptive, manipulative energy. And I really don't want to look at it that way because, it's a general reading, and that's not really how I want to, not the energy I want to bring to the table unless it's absolutely necessary. But the reason why I'm not going that route is because I have the King of Cups and the Ace of Wands right there ending your reading. And although the Devil is the strong point here, we're seeing whatever was restricting you, your status might be restricted at this point. This could literally be a relationship that maybe someone was afraid of commitment and didn't want to change status, wanted to keep things the same old, which is fine. The devil can represent tradition and same old, but um, it also can be toxic and stagnant. So we don't want to keep things the same. Maybe change is important at this point in order for us to make strides within the career sector. Um, if anybody has stolen or cheated you in any sort of way, I see you getting support from a government official or some sort of um, some some sort of because they're both in. You see this? This is your job, right? Your day-to-day routine in your job. Taking, I can literally say this is taking a new way to work every day, changing it up, changing your routine up, looking at things differently in terms of how you're going to go about your day. But when I look at it from the job standpoint and the career standpoint, um, maybe either something that you've done in your day-to-day job has led to some sort of restrictions in your career. Maybe a reputation has been built in some sort of way that's not been great. That's what that negative news was. But also seeing the error of maybe your ways in terms of, well, I thought this up. I made this happen in some sort of way, even if it wasn't necessarily technically my fault. I have set myself up into this situation. I'm taking responsibility for what is going on in my career. The devil card is I take responsibility. I'm in charge of myself and that I take responsibility. Sometimes I'm in charge of other people as well. It can also be somebody who's abusing their power. So when it's in the 10th house, it can be a toxic boss, a toxic supervisor, coworker who's a little bit more established than you, somebody who's putting restrictions on you or doing negative kind of, toxic behavior. It also has to do with addiction because it has to do with cycles, being stuck in a hamster wheel, and that's kind of what she's doing, right? She's stuck in a hamster wheel. So maybe changing things up within the career, maybe if you've been having a hard time in your career sector, getting outside of your normal routine, changing things up, trying a new career, trying a new job, might be beneficial for you and might actually be the best thing you've ever done. Because, like I said, Capricorn and the devil go hand in hand, and they're not always bad. It's just this card here. So somebody might have done something sneaky and it's made you feel kind of restricted or upset in some sort of way. I see that somebody might be getting called out on for this behavior. And so there's really nothing to worry about because I have a friend coming in. This could be somebody who really cares about the welfare of other people. This could be a coworker or an associate of yours. There would be somebody who has is pretty established in terms of their achievements in life. They might be a care professional of some kind, like a doctor or even a massage therapist or a counselor or somebody who works with and for others. So social worker, anything like that. Caseworker, correctional officer, um, and I get correctional officer vibes here big time because of the helpful, service orientated, and the government kind of like legal kind of aspect of Capricorn. Um, this is somebody who's there to help you in an official way. And they're also somebody who is kind of works with somebody in regards to their future. And the devil can represent restriction, but it also can represent complete freedom and a lack of structure, right? It's the polarity of that. It's like the balance that's needed. So this person is also emotionally nurturing. They might be a little bit, traditional in their approach because the devil card's nearby, but they're somebody who actually cares. And so you'll have that person in your corner. If the King of Cups was in reverse, I would say this was a manipulative, emotional person who was taking from you and yada yada. But I don't see that. I see them coming in as a helpful hand, someone who's generous of spirit, someone who is very cleansing and healing. I feel like that he's like got a singing bowl right there. You know what I mean? Like his chalice is a singing bowl, and he's got the little thing to the stick to. I'm sorry, I'm sure there's a technical name for it, but cleanse out the negativity. And so he's kind of cleaning up or helping you to clean up to get your future in order in some sort of way. He could be somebody who works in medicine of some kind. This would be innovative medicine, groundbreaking medicine. The devil can often be restrictive, and with this mental health kind of position here in the mental scape, I feel like he could be a psychiatrist, because he's more the modern medicine kind of man as well. And, Capricorn's very traditional, so he might have an equal balance of, holistic versus traditional approach to things. Yeah, there's also like a very it's like very strict and rule kind of thing, and your job might be very strict. Somebody at your job might be very micromanaging, just very to the point, very blunt about how they want things done, and they, there's repercussions, obviously. You do something bad and you get spanked, like the devil's burning that guy's backside there. So you might have been reprimanded at work for something that you did that you thought you got away with, or something somebody else did and then blamed you for it. Because there can be a kind of that like toxic vibe. So I feel like there's an understanding that comes in some sort of situation, or there's another situation in the future that is coming in and very healing, and somebody's listening, a good listener. There's a new beginning with this person, this situation. So whatever was going down that was not really fair or didn't seem very nice, there seems to be some kind of, in the near future, some kind of resolution through the eyes of this helpful man, this healing person. Now, the 12th house, there's a new beginning, and that's how you end it. And I don't see any other aces, right? Okay, good. So you have this newfound inspiration. Um, a spark is lit spiritually um, within your life. You start to really connect, feel like you're starting to connect to something greater than yourself at the end of all this. Um, Something bad might happen to you in 2024, but I feel like you end up, because of this situation, you gain some sort of understanding about what your purpose is in life, and maybe, for example, this is going to be such a bad example, but you are in a dispute, and your lawyer is fighting for you, and you kind of become really close with that person through the process of going through this very crisis kind of conflict kind of situation, and you end up realizing that this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to be a lawyer, or you're meant to be a paralegal, or you have a hiccup with your health, some kind of situation, bad news with the health. You meet a couple different doctors and nothing's working, and then you take a different route. Maybe you always gone holistic and you go traditional, or you've always done traditional medicine, you go holistic. And that inspires you to go to school and be a doctor, or get into the healing professions of some kind. Maybe you want to be an LPN, or an RN, or whatever. So something that you'll go through is going to give you the clue that you are meant to do this kind of job, or inspire you to take action in your own life to start something new that connects you and gives you spiritual purpose. All right, Sagittarius, I think that's it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I can gather from this. Family, somebody might have a baby in 2024. There might be a pregnancy. um, this would be the person's second child, if that's, if they've, if they're going to have a baby. I think that'll be their second child. Um, you might find out that you're pregnant and be keeping it secret at some point, or not be aware. So be careful, because that might happen. um, there's career change for sure. Not being happy with your day-to-day work. Maybe doing what do you call it? Not silent quitting. You know, sneaking off and applying for other jobs, and finding a career at the end of it, because maybe you're unhappy somewhere, and then you find that special job that leads you down a new career path. So it won't just be a 9 to 5. It might be a for life type situation. Or at least for a long time, with that Capricorn card there. There's stability there with that Capricorn card. And emotional stability as well, because I have that King of Cups right next to it. Feeling inspired all over again. Not feeling stagnant anymore. Getting the drive to move forward in your life and create new things. You're getting your power back. You're taking your power back, I should say. And anybody who's going to try to stop you, I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening. All right, Sagittarius. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Please Please subscribe and share. Oh my gosh, I hate saying that. Do what you will. Anyway, take care. Bye.